The ground trembled violently as buildings cracked, alarms blared, and terrified screams filled the streets. Amid the chaos, Ethan Carter, a struggling single dad, shielded his 7-year-old daughter Lily under a shattered cafe table, praying for the shaking to stop. He had been on his way to the most important job interview of his life, a chance to finally secure stability for his little girl, but fate had other plans. When the earth finally went silent, dust and fear hung in the air. Ethan's phone buzzed with desperate messages. His interview had been postponed, the office building damaged. But before he could process relief, a faint cry pierced through the rubble near the collapsed bookstore across the street. "Help! Somebody, please!" Ethan turned toward the voice, heart pounding. People were running in every direction, terrified of aftershocks. No one stopped. But Ethan couldn't ignore that desperate sound. He looked at Lily, trembling in his arms. "Stay right here, sweetheart. Daddy will be back," he promised. He sprinted toward the ruins, pushing away fallen debris with bleeding hands. Beneath a cracked beam, he found a woman unconscious, trapped from the waist down. Dust covered her face, but he could see her faintly breathing. "Hang in there!" Ethan shouted, trying to lift the beam. It wouldn't budge. He screamed for help, but no one came. So he used everything he had, leverage from a broken sign, the strength of pure will, and finally, after minutes that felt like hours, freed her leg and carried her out into the light. Her pulse was weak, but steady. Ethan laid her on the sidewalk, tore his own shirt to bandage her bleeding forehead, and whispered, "You're safe now. You'll be okay." He didn't know it then, but saving that stranger would change everything. Hours passed. The city was in chaos, sirens, dust, and broken hearts everywhere. Ethan couldn't go back to the interview even when the company texted about rescheduling. He spent the day helping the injured, comforting Lily, and keeping hope alive. That night, as he sat outside the emergency shelter, Lily asleep in his arms, exhaustion hit him hard. He had nothing left, no job, no money, no home. Just the same dream that somehow tomorrow would be better. The woman he saved was taken away by paramedics earlier. He didn't even know her name. Still, he prayed for her. "Please, God, let her live," he whispered into the cold night. The next morning, as Ethan tried to calm Lily, who missed her bed and her toys, a black car pulled up in front of the shelter. 2 men in suits stepped out. "Are you Ethan Carter?" one asked. Ethan hesitated, afraid something was wrong. Then the rear door opened, and the woman he'd saved stepped out, her leg in a brace, but alive and radiant. Her eyes glistened as she walked toward him. You saved me," she said softly. "I've been looking for you." To his surprise, her office door was open. She looked fresh, professional again, as if last night had never happened. But when their eyes met, she gestured for him to come in. "Ethan," she said quietly, "thank you for last night. I owe you an apology, and probably more than that." He shook his head. "You don't owe me anything, ma'am. I just wanted to make sure you were safe." Her expression softened. "Still, I said some things I meant, even if I shouldn't have said them then. You're a good man, and a good father. I've been thinking about that a lot today." Ethan shifted awkwardly. "Just trying my best." "I know," she said. "And I also know how hard it is when you're doing it alone." He looked up, surprised. Claire continued, her voice gentler now. "My father raised me by himself. I used to think success was about being the best. But lately, I think I lost sight of what really matters." For a moment, there was silence. Two people, so different, yet both broken in quiet ways, seeing a reflection of each other. Then Claire took a breath. "Ethan, I want to make a proposal. There's a new opening in management. You've been doing the work of 3 people for months without complaint. You deserve better." His mouth fell open. "Are you serious?" She smiled. "Completely. And this isn't charity. It's recognition." Weeks passed, and Ethan's life began to change. The promotion meant he could finally afford better childcare for Lily and start saving again. More importantly, It gave him a sense of pride he hadn't felt since before his wife passed away 3 years ago. Claire, too, began changing. She started leaving the office earlier, volunteering at the children's hospital on weekends. Sometimes she'd stop by Ethan's desk just to ask about Lily. Slowly, a friendship bloomed, unexpected but deeply genuine. One Friday evening, as they both packed up, Claire said softly, "You know, that night you drove me home. I thought my world was falling apart. But maybe it was just falling into place." Ethan smiled. "Funny, I was thinking the same thing." Months later, at the company's annual gala, things looked very different. Ethan was now a confident manager, and Claire, though still his boss, felt more like a mentor and friend. When she took the stage to speak, she looked out over the crowd and said, "Sometimes, the people who change our lives the most aren't the ones above us, but the ones beside us, who show us grace when we least deserve it." Her eyes met Ethan's across the room. And in that moment, everyone clapped, unaware of the quiet story between them, the night a single dad drove his drunk boss home and reminded her, and maybe himself, what kindness truly means. Because sometimes, the smallest act of decency can rewrite two broken lives.